Hey guys. Okay, so one thing that really stood out to me while reading about Abraham and Sarah and then later reading on about Isaac and Rebecca was how much of their story involved waiting and being patient. Abraham and Sarah waited decades for the son that God had promised them. Even after God made his covenant with Abraham, they still had to trust him when nothing seemed to be happening. And to add on, and Rebecca experienced something similar. Rebecca was unable to have children for a long time, and Isaac prayed faithfully until God answered. Looking at both of these stories made me realize that God's timing is always different from our own timing, and that is something that I am still learning as well. I think that God chose to make them wait because he was doing something much bigger than simply just answering their prayer. If Abraham and Sarah had received Isaac immediately, they might have celebrated the blessing, but they would not experience the same depth and dependence upon God. Through waiting, God was teaching them that his promises can be trusted even when they could not see the outcome. Their stories became examples for the future generations of what it looks like to remain faithful even when nothing is making sense to you. The miracle of Isaac's birth pointed back to God's power, not to human ability or perfect timing. I also believe that there's a strong relationship between faith and waiting. Faith is easy when everything happens the way that you want it to happen, but waiting is where the faith is actually tested in. Waiting focuses us to decide whether we trust God's character even when we don't understand his plan. Sometimes we think unanswered prayers mean God isn't listening, but the biblical stories remind us that silence does not mean absence. God was working the entire time, even when Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Rebecca couldn't see it. In my own life, I have experienced seasons where I felt like I was waiting on God. One of the biggest examples was me actually trying to become a nurse. There has been times where I have not been accepted to many programs. I applied to a few other schools and did not immediately get in. I was always waitlisted. I got waitlisted 3 times. And then I found myself actually becoming patient and doing my research and praying, and by the grace of God, I got into here Concordia, which has has already changed my life dramatically, and I barely found out about this school back in May, and here I am now, and I'm still in this class, and I'm still learning, and keeping my faith. And it was very tough during that season, but I had to remain staying very faithful to God, and also being humble and gentle with myself, and knowing that it's not always my time, and my time was coming for me. And looking back now, I can honestly say that the waiting changed me. It taught me perseverance and helped me become more grateful for every opportunity that comes my way. Instead of expecting everything to happen on my timeline, I've learned to pray, keep working hard, and trust that God sees the bigger picture and has strengthened my relationship with him as well. And I have relied much more on his guidance rather than my own plans. Abraham and Sarah's story reminds me that God's promises are not canceled just because they take time. Isaac and Rebecca show that faithful prayer is never wasted, even when the answer doesn't come quickly. Their lives encourage me to keep trusting God during seasons of uncertainty because his timing is always very purposeful. While waiting is not easy at all, it can become one of the greatest ways that God shows and grows our faith and shapes who we are and prepares us for the blessings that he has planned for us. So I would say never stop praying and never stop thinking that God has left you in the dust even though he doesn't answer your prayers right away. Just remain faithful. Y'all have a good night.